Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm Troy from Journey Unknown. The Eagle has landed. We've finally upgraded our Starlink to the Gen 3 and she's here. There she is. Bit of instruction manual. We've also received the bracket directly from Starlink. I know there's a lot of third-party companies that do roof brackets, but we've decided to go directly with the Starlink bracket, and I'm going to mount that up. All of that is pretty simple. You've probably seen lots of videos on how people do it, but one main issue that we'll have is trying to get the cable in through the vehicle. So still yet to nut that out. But we'll get stuck into it and see how we go, and then we'll explain a little bit more about what's happening and what's coming up. When are we going on this bloody lap? Let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, instruction manual, how to mount it onto the roof of your car. Obviously you want it tilted back from the front of the car so you have less wind resistance. It's all looks fairly simple. Let's see how we go. What have we got here? Bracket, couple of tools, a few bolts, just your Allen key bolts, a couple of adjustment tools, and an Allen key. Okay. How does this all work? Pretty basic to put that together. We need to make sure that we're going to have enough room. So I'm going to have it at the rear of the vehicle. So essentially what happens is, try to do this whilst I'm holding the camera, is this bolt's up here and it clamps directly over the roof rack, and then the Starlink clips directly into the bracket, and then you do up these little Allen keys and that will hold it all into place. But we need to make sure that the width of the dish is going to fit where we want to put it, but it's adjustable. We can move it however we like. I just don't want to bolt it all down and then find that it's not going to fit. So let's pull the Starlink out. We'll get some measurements and go from there. The dish itself, comes with the modem, the power supplies, a couple of leads, very long cable. Very simple. This bracket, part of the bracket underneath, that goes underneath your rack, clamps all together. I'm not going to use this. We don't really need it, and the reason being is I can bolt directly down to the rack itself. So I can put some spring nuts in there and just bolt it directly to the roof rack rather than using the mount that goes underneath. It's not required. It's quite weighty too, this thing. But, I mean, it's not really heavy, but it's heavy enough to notice. So yeah, that's what I think I'll do. I'll just bolt it directly to the rack. It's all trial and error. Let's have a look at our little goodie box of bolts and nuts and everything else. I generally take this away with us all the time because it's got just universal bolts and different bits and pieces. So we need a couple of these. That's not the right size. You can get these with a spring on them, and that way it'll spring up underneath your rack. You don't have to fiddle around trying to thread the nut, so to speak. But we just need 2 of those. I'll see if I've got a spring one lying around. Do yourself a favour and get yourself some Loctite, especially for all your bolts around your caravan, your car. It comes in so handy. It basically will stop a nut coming loose or a bolt coming loose, especially with corrugations. There's a couple of types of Loctite that you can get. The blue is like a super strength, which is quite hard to undo, and the red is just your general, which is you can easily undo it, but it won't come undone during corrugation. So I'll put some Loctite on these bolts here. I've changed the particular bolt as well because the original bolts that come with the unit are quite long and they'll end up hitting the underside, and I won't be able to do those up. So we've got some shorter bolts. I also put a spring washer and a washer, and that way it'll give me extra security because I'm only putting 2 bolts in as well. It'll give me extra security that will stay tight. All right, let's get this thing on. What you have to do is obviously take out the kickstand, the little kickstand for the unit itself. That's mainly for if you're going to have it outside, just sitting outside on the ground, which you don't need it for insulation on the roof. So you remove that, and then what you want to do is just use this tool here and do these up. But before I do that, I'll run the cable. That's all installed. Now, we don't have the 12 volt version for the Gen 3 just yet, but it's something we'll look into. At the moment we've got a 200 amp hour battery that runs with a 2000 watt inverter, directly in the back of this vehicle, and that's where the modem will sit for now. I'm still going to nut out how I'm going to run this cable, but at the moment, like last time, I've just put it through the lip. The door will close on it. It doesn't wreck the cable, but it's not neat, and it's not something that I want to have like that long term. So I'll speak to a couple of auto elects that do this sort of stuff all the time and see whether I run it through the channel in through the ceiling, but they'll give me an idea of what to do there. Or if you guys know a good idea, just hit us up in the comments. That'd be unreal. So now it's time to take the vehicle outside and kick Starlink in the guts, and we'll see what sort of service we're getting. So it's pretty exciting. But the Starlink dish fits up there perfectly, just near the fishing rod holder. I'm quite happy with how that's worked out, because that's easily removable, and it's versatile. We can take it wherever we like. You know, you can park your car, you can have your caravan in a certain area where it's, you know, you have to be there because that's where you put. There could be lots of trees around and all that sort of stuff, so you have no service. So we can drive the car into a particular spot where there's a clear air, and we can still have our Starlink range. All right, let's get her outside and we'll see how we look. Got two massive gum trees out the front there, so I might have to park on the street. We'll see how we go. Well, there you have it. The Gen 3 is mounted onto the roof of the car. Very happy with how that went. It was a little bit of fiddling around to make sure that it fit our particular roof rack. Everyone's going to be different, so make sure you just check out what's going to work for you and what best suits your needs. But the reason a lot of people are probably wondering, why didn't we just get the Mini? Because that's quite simple. There's so many different brackets that you can get. There's so many aftermarket brackets as well that you can get and fit that directly to your roof rack. And the other thing with the Mini is also it doesn't have a modem. It's a built-in modem, so it's pretty simple, straight into 12 volt, which is fantastic.
That's the selling point for it.
Pretty much, yeah. But the main reason why we went with the Gen 3 was because of the internet speeds and the upload speeds, and we need that for obviously our work with YouTube, and that was the main reason why we went down that track. There was no other pros or cons to it. The con, I suppose, to the Gen 3 is the fact that it's a little bit larger and that you have to have a modem, and that it isn't 12 volt compatible unless you get an aftermarket cowfish that you can convert from 240 volt into 12 volt. So, which is something we'll look into down the track. But at the moment, we decided get the Gen 3. We had the Gen 1 to start with. That was fit for purpose at the time, but obviously things get a little bit better, and we want to be able to travel and drive and get internet at the same time, so we can look up where we're going and just have internet throughout the whole time. We also are fortunate enough to have a 200 amp hour battery and a 2000 watt inverter in the rear of our car that's built into our Tanami draw setup. So it was, why not utilise that power whilst we've got it? It charges whilst we drive. It's a bit of a no-brainer for us, and I think it sits on the roof really well, and it's compact, and the modem and everything else tucks away quite nicely just in Tex's area there. So as long as he doesn't chew the bejesus out of it, we should be good to go.
And one of the reasons we got the Gen 3 is because it now comes with a roof mount capability, which was one of the key features of the Mini, is that you could just mount it to your roof racks.
The other thing you need to do with the Gen 3, which I don't believe I showed you at the time because I was trying to work out how to get the actual foot off the Gen 3, so it comes with a little foot mount that you can sit outside on the ground. And there's a particular way that you can just pop that off, and that allows you then to click it straight into the mount that Starlink sells directly. Now,
so you don't have to unscrew the bolts. to get it off every time off the roof.
There's a couple of little lug bolts that you'll need to unscrew. And then there's just a little lever that you just clip off. It's very simple to click on and off, but it can't physically come off with those little lug screws that hold it into place. Now, what was the cost of the roof rack mount?
I think it was 120, but this was also another reason why we chose to go with the Gen 3, because it was on sale. It was $275 for the Gen 3 panel for the device itself with the router and cabling, but the roof rack mount was 120. So altogether it was cheaper than getting the Mini.
Yeah, I think what's happened is that the Mini is so popular, like everyone seems to get the Mini, but it'll be interesting to see how they do go with their upload speeds and their download speeds with that. But the benefit with the Mini is you can take it hiking with you, and you can plug it into a little battery pack as well.
Yeah, if
that's what you want to do.
Well, yeah, and I suppose that's a safety measure if you're going on a really long hike or an overnight hike. The other thing with the Gen 3 is when we ordered it, they said the wait could be like up to 6 weeks. And it came in less than a week. So obviously we ordered the right device, but I'm suspecting that if we ordered the Mini, then we would have been waiting a long time. But that's okay. I mean, like, we went in a hurry. We've still got the Gen 1 here, and I'm actually going to email Starlink and see whether I can return the Gen 1 and whether we get a partial credit for that. Or do we keep it because we own the hardware outright and potentially use it at the farm?
Yeah, or something might break.
Exactly, or we keep it in case something happens to the Gen 3. We've already, we've got a backup, so.
Yeah, so it's all systems go. If someone was to go stay with the caravan and need internet, we can always quickly take the Starlink off the roof of the car and leave it with the caravan. So it's a bit of a no-brainer for us. I think it'll work really well. If things change down the track, we'll let you know, but I think it's going to be a winner.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That's the whole Starlink. You've probably seen many videos like this, and everyone has their different reasons why they purchase a particular Starlink, but hopefully this has helped you out, and if it has, please think about subscribing to our channel because it helps us grow, and then we can produce more content like this for you guys in the near future.
Yep.
Have you got anything else to say, darling, about the...
Not Starlink, but whether we keep, and this has been a contentious debate between the two of us, is whether we keep the Telstra dongle, and I don't have it in here at the moment, but the Telstra Wi-Fi, when it works really well, and I want it permanently in the caravan because so it can run off, it can provide Wi-Fi for the 2 TVs, the Kazilla calendar, and the camera, the indoor camera.
It's more whilst we're away. So if we take the car away and we've got the dogs inside, we can run Wi-Fi through the cameras.
Yeah.
That would be the only reason why I'd have it. Otherwise, I don't think it's necessary. If you've got full-time Starlink on your vehicle, the reason why it works so well beforehand is because we physically had to set up Starlink every time we got to a place. Starlink will be set up on the car. We don't need to pack and unpack it, pack it up and unpack it, so to speak. So watch this space.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because it can read my mind.
We're constantly doing things with the caravan and the car to get ourselves ready. It just seems like it's an ongoing thing that we do, but it's going to make our travels a lot more comfortable, safer. We're going to have everything in tow.
Yep.
We've already done heaps to the car and caravan already, spent an absolute fortune on everything, but that's okay. It's all part and parcel of the experience and the excitement that we're about to head off.
And I'm also working on a little project behind the scenes, which is very informative. It's very creative. I'm really enjoying it, and hopefully it'll benefit our travels. And I also want to say thank you so much to everyone that's given us a super thanks. We've actually started withdrawing the money, and we'll show you what we do with your super thanks money at some stage.
We really appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right.
Have a
See
good
you
week.
guys.
Bye.